I do have a question for everybody. So humans have been evolving for like what, 500,000 years, 300,000?
I think the oldest hominids are like, I think the oldest one that we found fossil evidence for is like 3 million years or something like that. But Homo sapiens, I don't know if it's quite that long. I guess we were around before the last ice age, and the last ice age was like 50,000 years ago. So
How long does
actually,
it take for how long does it take for a fossil to take place of carbon, like a
it depends on what it's in.
all right.
I'm
I
not
mean, for
sure.
example, if it's in if it's in the peat bogs of Scotland,
Mhm.
it's going to last longer.
Well, how about
That's why you end up finding, perfectly preserved bodies
so I'm
in
talking
the
about
peat bogs.
I'm talking about fossilization, like turning completely to rock.
I don't know. I'm sure somebody's figured it out, but I
Uh,
don't know the answer to that.
Here's a little side story. I know somebody personally that found a fossilized human head in Clay County, Kentucky. And that's true.
Mhm.
It was it
Wouldn't
was
surprise
solid
me.
rock. It was a human head. And it was Homo sapien. Had a wound right here. So typically it would take something along the lines of about 50,000 years roughly to
Well, I think I may be wrong about this. I think the original inhabitants of this continent, who the theory is they came across the land bridge from Europe and Russia and whatever.
now
Uh,
I see
came here like 35,000 years ago. I could be wrong about that. That was
now
a long time.
I seen this head and it
Mhm.
looked like us, basically like
Yeah.
Anglo-Saxons, and it was fossilized. Well, they came down from I think probably I think it was the Smithsonian, and they said, "Oh, it's just a statue," and they took it for analysis, and we never heard anything back from it. So I think that there is active. They are actively covering up things like that because it never turned up
Well,
in newspapers. It never turned up anywhere else. Never got
why?
the,
Well, you got to ask why would they?
exactly.
Why? I mean, so I mean, if you can't explain why they would cover it up, then they probably did.
Well, there is a big conspiracy about Bigfoot. Like they find remains all the time. They just disappear. The Smithsonian or somebody like that comes and grabs them up.
What purpose would that serve?
because there's a narrative that they have us living on in this world to where they don't
But the narrative changes all the time.
Well, the Bigfoot thing crosses into not flat Earth, but hollow Earth. That our national park systems are set up around entrances where things like Bigfoot, Wendigo, skinwalkers, all of those things are active. And the belief is that they're coming from somewhere like these interconnected cave systems that have separate habitats.
Well, there's an explanation that I've heard that may explain it. You're all familiar with the theory of evolution,
yeah, oh yeah,
right? And the survival of the fittest, and how
oh
how species adapt to their surroundings. If they don't adapt, they don't survive.
I
Yeah.
completely believe in
Right. And well, different species have different adaptive systems that they go by. It is possible that things like Bigfoot, like skinwalkers, whatever else you may want to talk about, their adaptive thing is that they hide. That's how they have survived as long as they have, because they have a natural ability. They have an evolutionary ability to hide.
I do think that it makes sense that the national parks were set up in areas where these things tend to happen. Like,
Well, yeah, the first one was what, Yosemite? Just was it 70 or Yellowstone? It was one of those two.
Carter was who was the one that signed?
Yosemite, I think, was the first.
Yeah, that was Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Teddy Roosevelt.
So that was
And Teddy Roosevelt was like a known explorer and believer in a lot of this stuff.
Well, yeah, but have you seen Yosemite?
No.
It's breathtaking. It's absolutely incredibly gorgeous.
It's actually
It's-
the
it's-
background on my computer.
Yellowstone is breathtaking. The Grand Canyon is breathtaking. That's why they're national parks, because you don't want people going in there to just fucking it up.
I don't know. I could show you a place like where we grew up in Manchester, nowhere, Kentucky, that looks like a painting, like absolutely
Yeah.
insane.
it's,
and
Oh
it's-
yeah.
it's me.
But
Your
I really wouldn't want to meet the artist that painted you, dude. That's got to be one sick bastard.
we call him Jesus in this house. But yeah, do you think that there's a possibility of the interdimensional explanation for them?
Well, I mean, it's if you have the many worlds theory that we're all like in bubble universes,
Yeah.
and sometimes they touch, and sometimes the wall between them is very thin. I mean, it's possible.
speaking of which,
Nobody's proved it. I mean, the theory is sound enough, but we haven't found evidence to absolutely prove it.
this is completely off topic.
What has that stopped us?
So the different universes thing and the interdimensional stuff is what they're saying causes the Mandela effect. Did you guys watch that video of the Prince of Bel-Air today?
No,
I didn't watch it yet.
So
I can't spend my whole fucking day watching all the TikTok videos.
Totally.
so they showed the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air song, and I know you guys watched it, but literally I watched this video and there's like a whole new part in the intro to Fresh Prince that was never there.
No, that's bullshit. I'll call that right now. Because when it first came on there was an extra part. And they shortened it down in the later in that season. So like the first few episodes, it was really long. The song itself was pretty long.
So maybe that's why.
Yeah.
Somebody posted that. And I'm like, I'd never seen it. Like I didn't know that either. And I'm just like, that is completely great. That's like Berenstain Bears level crazy.
I was a huge fan of Big Willie when I was a child, and I loved it.
I heard you still do.
And I remember when that came out, and I was like, "Oh, sweet, the whole song." And then they cut it, and I was like, "What's this bullshit? They didn't even play the whole song." I remember that.
Well, that's you see that all the time in TV shows. For example, you guys ever see the show Castle?
No.
Nathan Fillion, Stana Katic. Castle's this writer that ends up tagging along with a New York City police detective.
No, that sounds good. Though.
It was on for like 7 or 8 years, man. It's Nathan Fillion, and Stana Katic is Stana Katic.
Yeah.
But the first, I think 2 seasons, they had this longer intro where he kind of talked about this and that, and they'd intercut, bits to make it funny, and then they finally stopped doing that and shortened the intro bit because they wanted more time to tell stories. Because you only have a limited amount of time thanks to commercials, and that time keeps shrinking because they want to give you more commercials.
That makes a lot of sense, and I'm glad that you said that, Caesar, because I was tripping.
Yeah.
Because I only watched it like in the later years that the show was out.
No, I watch that shit all the time because I had the Fresh Prince album pretty much as soon as that came out. I don't know why I used to love the Fresh Prince so much when I was a little kid. He had, I think it's because he had a song about Nightmare on Elm Street. It's called Nightmare on My Street.
I've never.
I
heard
will
that.
never agree with anybody though that says that it was the Berenstain Bears and not the Berenstein Bears.
No, no.
And why does it matter?
Well,
Because it's like a reality anomaly.
what's so crazy about it is what it's named after. When did Mandela die, Jeff?
What, Nelson Mandela?
Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't that long ago.
Was it in the 80s?
No, well, that's when he got out of jail, wasn't it? No. When did they do the? I'm not going to play in. I'm not going to play Sun City anymore. Whatever it was, that big, all the artists got together, U2 and a bunch of other
Well,
Sting and.
what's so crazy about it is, if you believe the narrative, is like 2010. All right.
Okay.
We know a fellow from South Africa that we talked to about this, and he knows for a fact that Mandela died in the 80s. His dad had the newspaper for it. They watched the funeral. He remembered it like that.
And now it's just changed.
And now,
I think
2013 is when he supposedly died.
yeah.
it's and people are saying that all of this kind of merged together as a result of that particle accelerator they started firing off in 2012 that said it could literally implode the Earth. Potentially, it could end existence because they're messing with like dark matter and stuff.
Given enough power, you could completely wreck the Earth. Given enough power, but it would take an awful lot of power.
You know, they're building a bigger one of those. They are. The
whole thing
funding for it.
with particle acceleration, though, like you're literally messing with the fabric of, like, it's more than just the Earth.
That's why you're messing with the fabric of the universe. But that's exactly why they're doing it, so that they can study the fabric of the universe. You have to science. You have to have facts. You have to have measurable facts that can be repeated. In order to do that, you've got to control the parameters of the test.
I
You
just think
can't
that-
just go out into outer space and go.
I think that the stuff
That's what I do.
that is what you do. I think that the stuff people are thinking of Mandela effect is like maybe they ran like particle acceleration and just one little thing makes its way from one universe to the next, like the name of a book or a memory.
Well, yeah, but then that kind of defies the time paradox. It was the whole butterfly's wings thing. If the butterfly flaps its wings over in the Philippines, you'll get a hurricane in Florida or whatever.
I think that's true, but I also think that we exist in all periods at all times at any given time because there's infinite universes. So
Well, yeah, but don't you think we'd have noticed it if something like that?
we have.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like that's what the Mandela effect literally is. But there's a universe where the Mandela effect never happened, and they didn't build that particle accelerator, and we're just living.
Living to be living, man.
There's a universe where Cecil's the president of the United States.
It's completely
Let's not go there.
possible.
No,
So what's next on your plate, Jeff?
Right now, myself and Susan Eisenberg are uploading episodes of a story we're writing together onto Vela, which is it's a thing that Amazon's starting that it's supposed to capitalize on the millennials' short attention span.
I saw that. So it's like episodes rather than a book.
Yeah, well, it ends up being a book, but
Right.
you read them an episode at a time. So we're doing that, and I'm working on I think it's my 16th book. I think it's my 16th book, which is the 7th in the zombie series.
That's awesome.
And then doing all sorts of podcasts and shit.
How do
Hadley
you
was-
cut?
Hadley
ahead.
was saying last night that she needed a voice actor with a southern accent. This guy would be perfect for it, and she just has to Vimeo me the money that she's gonna pay.
Now that right there, son, is a load of horse manure.
And like I said, if anybody needs any fishing tips, I'll get them from Reed and send them to you for $10 a piece.
That you'll collect and won't pass any of it on.
I'm not getting shit out of this deal.
What else do you guys have going on though?
So, well, I was going to ask, is it tough like co-writing with somebody? Do you just like,
It can be.
do you write like a portion of it and then be like, finish this out or something? Or like, how does that work?
Well, I'll write, a section, a couple of chapters or whatever, and then I'll say, here you go. And sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't.
Like I would imagine that there's some conflict that comes about. Like it shouldn't go like this sometimes, Conflict in every-
Well, it is if you let it.
Like
yeah.
It's-
you took what I had and put it in a dirt type situation.
Well, we last year and the beginning of this year, we over in Written Horrors, 6 of us got together and wrote a novel called The Collector that we put up, and it's all the proceeds go to charity. And it was an interesting exercise, and it was right on the edge of being too many people, because we did it
That's
before
six.
when I was in 6.
That's what I'm saying.
We tried it before when I was in the Written Undead, and there were like 15 people, and it was a chaotic mess. So you've got to keep the number of people small, and you have to have one person who herds the cats, and that's not always an easy thing to do. So I eventually I'll probably do it again, but I don't know if I'll be the cat herder, because I don't know if I want to do that again.
Well, yeah, that seems chaotic.
It can be real chaotic, because you've got 6 brains working on the same story, or you've got 15 brains working on the same story, and one brain to another doesn't work the same, because one person to another is different. So you might start with the general story idea, and then you hand it off to another person that goes completely off to the left or the right or wherever.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'd be like, what did you do, Frank?
Well, there's quite a bit that on the Collector. It was some of those twists gave me whiplash almost. It was like, what the fuck did that come from?
You said Frank, it'd be like, he writes a portion of it and gives it to Frankie, and then it's just all about them avoiding zombies so he can fish more. Like, just,
When you write a book, these things don't get written overnight.
No.
You surround yourself with it, and you live with it in your brain for who knows how long. So it's a very personal thing, writing a book. And then when you hand it off to somebody and they completely shred it, it's like getting kicked repeatedly in the nuts. It's not a fun experience. So you've got to have somebody that, if they point out problems with it, they do it in such a way that they're not a dick, that it's not going to completely, they're not clog dancing on your heart.
Getting kicked in the nuts can be fun, though. I guess it depends.
I was going to say, I thought you were probably into that.
I would beg to differ. I've been kicked in the nuts. It's not fun.
so how did you get kind of in the weird realities orbit?
Well, we started doing a podcast over in the Written Horrors, which is the haunted library. We started it. I started doing it as a just a marketing gimmick to kind of put the word out there and get more people interested, and so they would buy the books. And I found that I really enjoyed doing it. Now, we had a good bunch of people. We still have a good bunch of people. And we did a few of them, and then Hadley joined the Written Horrors, and she sounded interesting, and she had an interesting point of view. So I brought her on as a guest, and all of a sudden she said, well, hey, if this is what I'm doing, why don't you check this out? And it seemed like a natural fit. The thing is, marketing wise, if you want to succeed at it, you have to move beyond Facebook.
Yeah.
You have to, because it's limiting, and especially these days, they're changing the rules like every other day, and God only knows where it's going to turn into. But you've got to expand beyond it, and the only way to really do that is this stuff.
No, I
Go
completely
off on
agree.
different platforms and to different audiences, and you just kind of what we sell when we're selling our books. We're not really selling the books as much as we're selling our name. We're because it's all about name recognition. People will go and buy a Stephen King novel because it's written by Stephen King.
Yeah.
They won't read the back of it. They'll just go, oh, this is Stephen King, I'll grab it. So that's how you build a fan base, and you start getting, people will buy your book. It freaks me out that I have actual fans,
That's pretty cool.
but I do. I mean, I don't have, hundreds of thousands of them like Stephen King does, but I've got a bunch. I mean, my books sell. I'm not rich, but I'm getting rich off of it by any stretch of the imagination. But
you're doing what you love, dude.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's awesome.
I've been doing this. I've been writing stories pretty much since I learned how to form complete sentences. I've been doing this my whole life. It's just it comes naturally to me. It's what I love doing. So I just keep doing it.
And it's awesome for us to talk to authors and stuff. And we was talking about the other day, like, we don't hang out with a lot of people. So, like, talking to you guys and Alan and Hadley and everybody, most of the people we know now are authors. That's weird.
Yeah, I mean, we like off camera, we hang out with each other. Like, we get together like once a month.
Mm-hmm.
Not
and
really. He's too good for it.
Reed makes an appearance when he's not fishing, but for the most part, we all get together and hang out, and most of our external interactions are this, like, with as far as like people we don't know. And man, it's just been like, we've been going only since November, but just all the people that we've met around the world and stuff, it's been very humbling.
Yeah, that's fun.
Our universe has expanded.
Well, to me, and having lived all over the place and done a bunch of different jobs over the years, and being 60 years old,
Shit.
I learned pretty solidly that one of the coolest things in the world is to surround yourself with smart, funny, and creative people.
You're 60?
60.
Reed looks older than you. Fuck
I
you.
don't believe it,
Born in 1961, dude.
dude. You don't look 60 at all, man.
I was born in 1961.
That is insane.
They always got to pick on the old guy here. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
He's not much older than me, unfortunately.
But I mean, how many dull friends do you have?
Huh?
How many dull friends do you have?
Dude, I don't keep anybody in my life that ain't interesting.
Yeah, I don't either.
If they ain't been kicked out of a bar, they ain't no friend of mine. I'm joking.
No, you're
I
not.
don't
you're not.
I don't think I've ever been thrown out of a bar before.
Oh God.
We probably should have been.
I'll tell you, it sucks, man. Because I used to be a wild person. I used to do wild shit all the time. And it got to the point where when we go to Lexington or somewhere and we walk in somewhere, I'm like, get out. And I'm like, what the hell? I've never even been here before. They're like, you've been here. You're not allowed back here. I'm like, shit, I don't remember that.
Yeah, his knuckle prints are still on these large metal doors at one of the venues in Lexington.
Well, that was one thing with being on ships, is we all go out en masse. There'd be a bunch of us, and we're all getting drunk together because that's what you do. So you had an automatic, like, I wouldn't call it a safety net exactly, because we did a lot of really unsafe shit, but you had people that would stop you from going too far.
They try.
Yeah, there no stopping him, dude.
That's the reason I don't drink.
I know that you can't really get perspectives, but Cecil's 6'4", and weighs a lot more than me.
Yeah.
And
50.
And I'm the next tallest.
Yeah.
And everybody else is pretty significantly shorter than us. And it just ain't happening, dude. It's like wrestling a bear.
Well, yeah, but if you try to wrestle a bear 1-on-1 or even 2-on-1, yeah, you're probably gonna get your ass handed to you. You do it like
4.
6-on-1. You do it like 6-on-1, then yeah, they're probably gonna be able to subdue you.
My thing now,
and having, given that we did this stuff all the time, you could see, okay, we're going down this road, we have to stop.
So you're saying it just takes an army?
Pretty much.
My thing that I always like to do, if I knew I was outnumbered, I was going to get my ass kicked, I'd just go fucking completely crazy. I'd flip the switch and go insane.
That's the only way you can do it.
Yeah. And like, totally seen it before. Like I've had my ass whipped before, and somebody broke my nose and I was bleeding everywhere. So I started laughing at them and spitting blood on them, and they quit.
Well, yeah, there's no such thing as a fair fight. No such thing as a fair fight. So as long as you understand that there's no such thing as a fair fight, if somebody wants to try and kick my ass, they're going to know they've been in a fight. They might kick my ass, but they're gonna feel it the next morning.
I didn't even try to swing on that guy. I don't think. I just let him do it and start spitting blood on him.
Imagine, I'll set the scene. So we get the next morning, and I wasn't involved in the fight, but I was wearing a white shirt and I had blood all over me. And
Have you ever seen Triple H when he comes out and does that? Like I did that with blood.
Yeah, and the wind was blowing, so like all these people are getting covered in blood. And we get up the next morning and go to get breakfast, and it's a Sunday, and it's after church in a southeastern Baptist region. Everybody after church goes out to one of the 5 restaurants in the town to eat. We walk in and the place goes completely silent. We're all covered in blood and all of our hair is crazy. We didn't wear hats. And we just went in business as usual and ate food, and everybody just stared at us for an hour while we were eating.
It's fun though. I kind of miss that way of life, but I don't at the same time. Like I couldn't fight right now. There's no way I
wouldn't even try.
No, I wouldn't even.
Once you come to the conclusion that there's no such thing as a fair fight, the next logical step is, well, if there's no such thing as a fair fight, then why do it?
Yeah.
Because there's no percentage in it. It's like the movie War Games. The only way to win is not to play. The only way to win a fight is just walk away from it.
When I get mad, I punch things, like punch walls and stuff. And I got mad and punched my lawnmower, and it hurt like hell. And I was like, "Oh shit!"
That's from punching a steel bulkhead.
Yeah.
The bulkhead won.
Mine does this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, see, that's what stupid shit you're supposed to learn from it.
And he's
Well, there's an old saying that goes something like, people will defend nothing more strongly than their own ignorance.
damn right.
Birds aren't real.
Words are real, yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, you get people who have convinced themselves of something
Yeah.
in spite of all evidence to the contrary. And well, you found this, I stay away from politics simply because
We do too.
the
We do
nation is so divided right now that I run the risk of losing half of my audience no matter what I say. You see it in discussions between one side or the other, which it really isn't. For example, I've been accused of being a leftist soldier
Yeah.
simply because I disagreed with somebody on the far right. Well, if by leftist you mean I'm left of you, then yes, but so is 99% of the world.
Yeah,
But when you get so polarized, there's no middle ground. And if you don't have middle ground, then there's a pointless argument.
that's the problem. Is there's just no actual conversation going on. Like there's no actual debating. There's no talking through situations. At this point, it's just
You're right. Or
right.
no, you're
Well,
right. I'm right.
it's Newton's third law of motion. For a reaction, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So, for example, you start with the gun debate. A pro-gun guy will say, my 80-year-old grandmother in Poughkeepsie, New York needs an Uzi for home defense.
Yeah, I can see
And then the anti-gun people will say that you need to ban the Winchester 30-30 because it's an assault weapon. Both things are patently ridiculous. But when the argument starts there, given Newton's third law of motion, it keeps getting farther and farther and farther and farther apart.
I agree.
Oh,
And
it is a good made weapon. I mean,
and the thing about this country, what our founding fathers did very well, they created our Constitution, and they started us on this grand experiment using two things: compromise and civil discourse.
Yeah.
Neither of those exist anymore.
No.
There's no compromise. There's no civil discourse.
That is a really, really good point.
That is a good.
It's I think this. You're an idiot. That's the argument. That's the argument, and it never gets anywhere else.
So you brought up the Constitution before we sign off and do our farewells. What do you think about them not teaching cursive hardly anymore at all, and that they think that they're doing that so people won't be able to read the Constitution in a couple generations?
That's nonsense. Because if for no other reason than there are printed, typed copies of the Constitution all over the damn place. There's millions of them. It's one of the greatest inventions of all of human history is Gutenberg's printing press. It's once books started being able to be printed and distributed to a wider audience, you couldn't put that horse back in the barn. So just because the document may have been written in Old English and cursive, it doesn't matter anymore. It's immaterial because the text of it exists in other formats now that are perfectly readable everywhere.
he's right and you're wrong, Cecil.
I choose to differ.
I think that
You're wrong. You're an idiot.
that's a better description than because you could say, well, you can go anywhere on the internet, but the internet's easily suppressible.
Yeah, especially now.
No, there's nothing untrue on the internet. Are you kidding? No. Hey, it ain't so.
So I would say that you're right. Like it'd be like
It'd be hard.
that's a lot.
It'd be
It's
hard.
a lot easier than the internet, though. Like if you printed words to paper and circulated a book, that's easier than if you're not allowed to say something on the internet.
True.
Well, yeah, I mean, back what Gutenberg started the what's the term for it? The Enlightenment. He was the catalyst for the Enlightenment, because before that, it was actually illegal to own a Bible, even just to possess a Bible that was written in any language other than Latin, which the vast majority of people couldn't read. So religious doctrine was based on whatever they told you it was based on. And then all of a sudden you had the Bible. It's there, and it's in English, or it's in French, or it's in whatever language you happen to speak, and you could see for yourself what it says. And, once that happened, the church lost its grip on, total dominance over what people would be able to think and believe, because people could make up their own damn minds.
That's what it's all about.
That's exactly what it's all about. It's lesson number one: read. These things called books, there are words in them. You learn from it.
I just bought a bookshelf because I've been buying books from everybody that we have on. And the fact that you have 16, I'm going to have to buy another fucking bookshelf.
That kind of seemed like a backhanded compliment.
I can't wait to get them.
Damn it. I got to buy another bookshelf.
But yeah, that's going to be awesome.
I hope that I'm not banned from watching Wyrd after that comment that I made on the last episode
Which one?
about how that movie was the biggest time waste in my
Oh,
entire life.
no. Well, why would we ban you from that?
I
Because
love watching.
Did you see the original roundtable we did for Zombie Army?
no, I haven't.
There were people who really loved it, and then there's people like me who like, this is a piece of shit.
I gotta admit, man, I didn't much care for it. Honestly.
Well, there were just too many plot holes and too many WTF moments that.
It was all right, but
Anytime you guys just give me like some advance notice and I'll
Oh,
watch
yeah.
the movies.
Oh, hell yeah! Oh, what?
I'd love to come back on.
yeah, I'd love to come back on too, and I've already watched them, so.
Oh, well, we're doing one every week from now till Halloween. So there's plenty of opportunities to bring you guys back on.
I was stoked to hear that you're going to do fucking Jason X for Friday the 13th.
There's a lot of people who don't like that movie.
I liked it. It was so fucking shitty. It was awesome.
It's been way too long since I've seen that.
See, here's the thing about Friday the 13th. The only movie that actually makes any sense is the first one.
Yeah.
And Sean Cunningham, the guy who created the whole thing, intended for that to be one and done.
Yeah.
He had no intention of turning this into a series. Every movie since then has been patently ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it. There's no grip of reality on it. I mean, you get like the first 4 or 5 of them were just variations on the same theme. Everything was Camp Blood,
Yeah.
Camp Crystal Lake, and people would keep coming back there stupidly, and I'm, oh my God, I'm shocked and I'm getting hacked to death.
Then he pops up in Manhattan.
yeah, and then they change it that it's it's suddenly Jason's dead, but it's somebody else is taking over for Jason, and then the audience is so they changed that and then made the next one as if the previous one never happened, and then they went to Manhattan, and then so Jason in space, why not?
All right, so Jeff, tell everybody where they can find all your stuff, all your books, and
Okay, you can find all my books on Amazon. You can find me on Facebook. I have a personal fan page called Jeff Thomson's Twisted Tales. You can find me in the Written Horrors. You can find me in. It was called the Zombie Army. As of midnight tonight, it's going to be called Horror Writers Inc. And then, of course, you can find me on Wyrd Reality with Hadley and all of her cadre of minions.
She has worked up a fucking army, ain't she?
Oh, yes,
She is the true cult leader.
Oh, yes, she is.
She is.
And she's a slave driver, too.
We love Hadley here.
She's a force of nature.
Yeah. And so you guys have all kinds of stuff coming up on everything.
Yep.
Yeah. Just a brief overview. What you got?
Well, we're doing 13 weeks of Halloween. So we're doing an episode every week with different horror movies from now till Halloween, including a Friday the 13th episode on Friday the 13th. So that should be amusing. We're doing all sorts of movies. It should be a lot of fun. They've got interviews with, I don't know. She's got all sorts of stuff lined up that I'm not involved in because my schedule, I'm retired essentially, but my schedule's so busy, I literally had to go out and get a day planner. because of all the different stuff she's got. We're doing that. I'm still doing the haunted library. I'm doing tomorrow on what's becoming the Horror Writers Inc. We're doing an all-day event live and online and just with giveaways and contests and just all sorts of weird stuff going on. So all day tomorrow we're doing that. Sunday I think I may collapse. And then it just keeps going, and Hadley's got all sorts of different stuff lined up, different guests coming in and all sorts of stuth.
You guys
on Wyrd Realities, and check it out. Or just ask Hadley, have her come and give me a lift.
Wyrd Realities on YouTube. You can watch Watching Wyrd, and it is awesome. You can watch Taula read reviews on one of their episodes because he didn't watch the fucking movie.
Well, dude, I watched the first one. It's fun. I watched the second one, and I was so demoralized. I was so demoralized. I literally sat there, hungover, wondering what I was doing with my life after watching that movie. Like that really, and at the end of my life, in the top 10 things that I regret in life, that's making top 5 easy.
You haven't lived long enough then.
I liked it. I liked it. I love that movie. It's actually pretty good. If you want to find out what movie it is, go back and watch a catalog from Wyrd Realities, Watching Wyrd. We have a lot of people that are supposed to come on. So many I don't know. Taula, is there anybody specific?
There's a ton of guests, dude. We're just kind of in the season of guests, if you will. But
the witch.
I do not have a complete list handy right now.
Next episode will be the Beyond Secret Texan, Isaac from Durban Paranormal, coming back the week after.
You need to get you one of these. You know why?
Why?
These don't break.
I hope this don't break. I can't afford another one. But we got a lot of guests coming up. I'm working on a t-shirt design because I just want one for myself, honestly. If we ever do that, I don't know how we're going to distribute it. So be on the lookout for that.
Do Redbubble, I guess, worked great.
Redbubble.
That's what Hadley's using.
Oh yes.
Is that a service where you kind of give the designs and then they just make it and ship it?
They make it. Yeah, they make it. They ship it,
And
and
that's
then they'll give you I guess they give you a cut rate on it, and then you just tack on whatever profit margin you want.
I've got my.
That's similar to what I've pitched in the past.
yeah, and again, go get merchandise for Wyrd Realities and Watching Wyrd and everything over at Redbubble. I've got a Wyrd Reality shirt. Reed's got his on now. They are awesome shirts and they're very comfortable. I sleep in mine. And
Do you go Winnie the Pooh style? Just the shirt and no pants?
always, like I do right now, while I'm sitting here recording this podcast.
And don't forget, Not Callers, NITE Callers Productions.com for the best Bigfoot merchandise on the planet.
Yep. And
Shout out to
Lauren.
Unexplained Scotland,
Yeah.
one of our other people we see have every now and then.
Hey Martin, reach out to us. I heard you wrote a book and I want a copy. So tell me how to get it and I'll buy it because that's how
I'm thinking we're gonna have to have Martin back on for our 1 year anniversary since he was the one who started it all.
Yeah, he's our first guest. And
That's why we're doing this Halloween thing, because I guess Hadley started Wyrd Realities a year ago on Halloween, so that's why we're doing it.
that's my wife's birthday. So I'll probably
Halloween, that should have been
yeah.
a sign. Well, for example, I lost my virginity while listening to I lost my virginity while listening to Alice Cooper's "Welcome to My Nightmare."
Nice.
That probably should have been a sign, but I didn't take it.
Yeah.
I lost my virginity hearing chickens.
There's got to be a metaphor at play there somewhere.
They were in the background.
God, I'm
Sure they were. Sure they were.
They were in the background.
A chicken orgy. I just which came first, the chicken or the egg? No, Cecil came first.
touchdown. That made my day. That made my week.
But this has been the longest wrap up I've ever done. So
And on that note, we should probably go away before somebody comes and like puts us all in jail.
On that note, I agree with Jeff. BitShoot.com, YouTube.com, Anchor.fm, Twitter, everything at Wearing the Folk. And check us out. If you want to be a guest, reach out to us on Twitter through the Twitter I just mentioned beforehand. Or you can email us at bipolar_teddybear@outlook.com. And thank you for watching us because we're watching you.